So this probably actually should have been the first video in the series, but I neglected to do it. One of the items that also typically I change after a default installation is the security and login processes or settings for OS X. So I'm actually going to go back into System Preferences, and underneath the security item, we will actually change a few things. The first one is I actually change it so that I will turn on the requirement that when I'm logging out of the screensaver, I do need to type in a password. I do this only for my laptop. I don't do it for the desktop. But the reason I do it on the laptop is I travel fairly frequently, so I do want the requirement that the screensaver is actually sort of a secure break for me. One of the other things that this will actually do is, by default, it will ask me to turn off the automatic login. So this is, if I only have one user account, it's automatically going to log me into that account without requiring a password. I don't want to have that for the laptop either, and actually for the desktop I also require a password on login. So we'll go ahead and turn this on for now, and as well actually take Apple's recommendation to turn off the automatic login. The automatic login option is actually here by itself, so you can do that. There are some additional items that you can set. I don't set these. One is to require a password to unlock each system preference pane. I find that to just be a little bit of an overkill personally. The other is to log the machine out after 60, or log the account out after 60 minutes of inactivity. I don't really feel this is necessary, so I leave that one unchecked as well. The other one that I do typically do is pair my remote control with the computer. I don't actually have it here with me at the moment, so I'm not going to do that. But the pairing process is fairly simple. You just have to hold it and hit the two buttons, and that will actually pair up the remote so that only your remote will work with the computer, so that others don't actually use it. There are some other settings that are available to us. The firewall settings I do leave by default, which is to allow all incoming connections. I don't feel that this is too much of a risk, especially since I have outgoing traffic controlled at this point through the little snitches we saw in one of the earlier videos. But you can change these default settings if you want. The other thing that I typically don't do is to use File Vault, and the reason I don't use File Vault at this time is because of the fact that it's not working very well with Time Machine in terms of backing up. You actually have to log out of the owning account for File Vault and then back up using another account. And as I said, I don't really log out of my primary account very frequently, so I don't use the built-in File Vault. I use TrueCrypt as an alternate method, which we'll go over in a later video for documents I feel need to be really secured, or I can also use GPG, or the PGP alternative, which we'll go over in the mail section of videos at a later date. So those are the security items that I do change by default. You may want to tweak your screen saving settings once you set these. That's obviously available under the desktop and screensaver sections. Under screensaver, you can select the time that it will start. And so for me, because I do use it as a sort of a security thing, I will bring it down to 5 minutes so that my screensaver will start within 5 minutes of inactivity. And I also like to have the clock show on the screensaver, so I can change that setting right here. We'll go over hot corners during the expose settings later. For right now, I don't have them set up, but I typically do assign a hot corner to start the screensaver right away. So we'll go over that at a later date. That's it for this one.